Hello people, I'm Anna-Kristina and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you should and should not do while visiting Japan. So if you want to know how to behave when you're there so as not to embarrass yourself, go ahead and keep watching this video. Alright, so I did a lot of research on this subject and I have a long list here with me. It's really a huge compilation of all the things I found while watching a ton of YouTube videos and reading a ton of stuff I found through Google search because Google's your best friend when learning about anything, and YouTube. They're both great. So I have this huge list, and I split up into two parts. One part is everything you should and should not do in general, and then there's a part all about how you should behave when you are eating in Japan. Can you believe it? There's so many things I found on how to behave while eating in Japan. I don't know. It's crazy. Like half the list is just about what to behave while eating. But don't get too stressed out. That's what I'm here to tell you, so you don't have to stress out when you're there. So I'm just going to start going down the list. So the first thing is, all the other anime lovers out there, myself included, anime is amazing. But Japan is not an anime paradise. A lot of foreigners have this concept that when you go to Japan, you're going to see everybody cosplaying everywhere and everybody's going to be a fan and you can talk to anybody about it. But that is not the case. In fact, people who are obsessed with, here in America, people find it strange when they learn about my anime obsession. But in Japan, people almost look down on you for it. I'm really an obsession with anything. The word otaku there is really just the word for nerd. So when you obsess with anything at all in Japan, they kind of look down on you for it. Unless it has to do with schoolwork and that type of nerd that gets the best grades and everything, because that's the type of person that all parents want their kids to be in Japan. So you get praised for that, but you get shunned for anything else that you are a diehard fan of if you show it at all to anyone besides the other diehard fans. Number 2, taking shoes off in the house. And I'm sure you've all heard this one before. When you enter someone's house in Japan, you take your shoes off and you have a special pair of slippers for in the house. And that's really for like any indoor building, not just the house. They have it for schools and for, I don't know about some restaurants. I didn't think of looking into that, but I know there's just a lot of places that you take the shoes off when you enter and either wear the special slippers or you wear the socks, your socks that you're wearing. And another part of that is bathroom slippers. A lot of people hear about the bathroom slippers in Japan. Honestly, they aren't as big a deal as a lot of people make them out to be. Yes, there's a pair of slippers by the bathroom and you need to take your house slippers off before going into the bathroom, but you don't necessarily have to wear the bathroom slippers. It's kind of split. Like, some people do, some people don't, so you don't have to. You can if you want to. It's not a huge deal. Number 3, trains are like libraries. When you're on a train, there should be no talking, there should be no eating or drinking, have your phone on silent, and don't look at the other passengers. Just keep to yourself and do your own little thing. A lot of people read books there or whatever, but if you read a book, like, have a book cover for your book because they don't like to see what other people are reading. I don't know, I've just seen it a lot. I don't know exactly why everybody has book covers on their books, but that has nothing to do with the train. Ignore that part. Yeah, so on a train, be respectful of other people, be quiet, don't have food or drink or anything, and just try and mind your own business and not bother anybody else. And then going along with that, number 4 is be quiet in public. So a lot of people, at least here in America, even inside, we talk really loud. But when you're in Japan, you have to be conscientious of that. Whether you're outside or inside, just like keep your voice really down quiet. I'm not going to talk really quiet because I don't know if you'd be able to hear me otherwise. But yeah, just be very conscious of how loud your voice is. As a foreigner, you can get away with it, and they might think you're rude, but they'll understand. They'll consider that you're a foreigner that probably doesn't know any better. But at the same time, you're in somebody else's country. you're visiting their place, you should be courteous and try not to make a disturbance. And in this case, that means no talking loud in public. All right? Number 5, try not to get pictures of strangers when you're out in public in Japan. And I know this is going to be difficult, especially if you want to take pictures of all the fabulous things you're seeing around. I know it's going to be difficult for me when I go, but just try your best. And if you do get pictures of strangers in there, maybe crop them out when you do it. Just don't purposefully take a picture of a stranger, really. Because Japanese people really value their personal space and privacy. So it would not be appreciated. Number 6, keep your distance. Don't just randomly go up and touch people like to get their attention or something. Instead of because I know sometimes for me when I'm trying to get someone's attention, I'll go tap them on the shoulder or touch their arm. But in Japan, maybe just kind of give a little wave in front of their face or something. Don't touch them. They don't like to be touched without permission. And when you say goodbye or when you meet someone, don't shake their hand unless they go to shake your hand first. And don't ever give someone a hug in Japan, especially if they haven't asked for it first, because that's something even boyfriends and girlfriends in Japan don't really hold hands or give hugs or anything. Even married couples, they just don't show any outward emotion or affection in Japan, friends or whatever. They just all keep to themselves and don't touch each other, so it would be especially awkward for them to have a foreigner suddenly touching them and wanting to give them a hug. So at least ask first, and just really probably don't even ask. Don't make that situation awkward for you as well. Number 7, remember that in Japan, they drive on the left side of the road, therefore you should walk on the left side of the sidewalk. This is something that probably a lot of people don't really think about, but it's a good thing to just keep in mind. It's not a big deal, of course. I'm sure you'll see people walking in the correct direction and remember. But just as a reminder, keep that in mind on the left side for things instead of going in on the right, just because they're different. And that's totally okay. It's okay to be different. Number 8, don't block doors when walking through places or cut in line. I hope you don't cut in line anyway or block doors anyway. But just another reminder, in Japan they have this whole mindset of not inconveniencing people and not bothering people. So when you're there, try not to inconvenience or bother people either. Keep that in mind while you're there. And, try and blend in. Do what everybody else is doing. It'll be for the best, and they'll appreciate foreigners like you and want visitors like you to come back. Number 9, don't show cleavage or your upper body really. Keep your entire upper body covered. Sleeves on your shirts, I don't know if you can see, but your collar should not be below your armpits. This entire upper body is a very sexualized area, and they don't want that shown. You can wear as shorts and skirts as you want, but just cover up here. And that's just to be polite to the people there. Again, as a foreigner, you can get away with it, and nobody will say anything, but they'll still be kind of judging you and looking down on you, which, if you don't mind that, then go ahead, wear whatever you want, but people like me don't want them judging foreigners based on me, so I plan on keeping it covered, and it's something to think about when packing for Japan for your trip. Number 10, don't blow your nose or use tissues and things in public. They consider this, think about it here. We don't like people picking in the nose, especially in public in front of us or something like that. Japanese take it even further, to not even blow your nose or show any sign that there's something there at all. It is a natural part of our body, but they don't want that shown in public. I don't know exactly why, other than possibly they consider it gross. It's just a cultural thing, something you should respect while you're there. Just sniffle until you can get to a bathroom and fix it. Number 11, when you're entering an elevator, if you are the first one into the elevator, you are like the captain of that elevator. You ask people what floor they want to go to, or people will tell you what floor they want to go to, and you'll push the button and you won't get off until everybody else has gotten off. So let that be just kind of a word of caution to you, that unless you really want to be the captain of the elevator and really want to be in charge, then go for it. You do you, and props to you. But if you're like me and you don't want that pressure, especially being a foreigner and not being able to understand as easily as natives speakers, wait for somebody else to go on first. Number 12, when using business cards. I don't know how many of my viewers out there are going to Japan for business or will end up exchanging business cards in Japan, but if you do, know that there is a very specific, kind of almost a ritual for exchanging business cards. When you have your card, you need to hold it by both hands or receive it with both hands. And that really goes with anything when you're handing something to someone in Japan. You hand it with both hands or you receive it with both hands, just a polite way to do it. But with the business card, whoever has the most authority, whether it's you or the person you're exchanging cards with, will, if they say they are of the higher rank, if they are higher rank, higher in authority than you are, then you will, when you hand them your card, you will hold your hands lower down than they hold their hands. And likewise, when you receive their card, you will receive it with your hands held lower than their hands. And it's vice versa if you're the one with more authority, and so on. And then number 13, I think I'm on 13. Yeah, number 13. When giving gifts, it's very serious business to give gifts in Japan. There are 2 gift-giving seasons throughout the year, and that is during the summer and during the winter. And when you give gifts, you have to be careful about what you're giving at what time. For instance, do not give white flowers of any kind. White is associated with death, and people do not like having things associated with death. They don't like being reminded of death. I can't blame them. Death can be scary. So don't give them white flowers. Sorry, adjusting myself here. My foot's asleep. Also, when you go on a vacation, let's say you're staying in Japan for an extended amount of time and you go on a little trip vacation to somewhere else and you come back, you don't just bring souvenirs back for your close friends or family. You bring them back for everyone you know. This means coworkers, classmates, people you meet on a regular basis but don't really remember their names ever. You bring back souvenirs for everybody. And so what a lot of Japanese people will do is they'll go to their special shops for this kind of thing. Or they'll just get like a bag of candy or a bag of small trinkets, just a ton of them for cheap. And they have special stores for it. I don't remember what they're called, but there's special stores for these kinds of souvenirs that you can bring back and you can just leave on the desk for your classmates or your coworkers to take one as a souvenir from your trip. Alright, and then number 14, if you are a girl and you're in Japan, know that it is very impolite for you to spread your legs and have your legs spread apart. Especially if you're in a skirt, but really any time. So you want to keep your legs together. If you're sitting, don't sit cross-legged. Sit like with your legs off to the side or something. Or don't open your legs when you're sitting on a chair. Keep them together, heels crossed, whatever you need to do. But it's very, very impolite for girls to spread their legs. It's considered very unladylike. Again, if you're a foreigner, you can probably get away with this and you'll be just fine. But you still probably will be judged and won't have a very good image of yourself. And so it'd just be better to give the best image of yourself by abiding by that rule. And then number 15, final one, just an overall thing to kind of cover all of your bases. Try to blend in. That's really the entire Japanese culture, is to blend in, be like everybody else, don't stand out too much. So really just watch what everybody else is doing and do what they do. Follow the leader. Just, yeah, that would be my advice to you. Thank you everybody for watching. That is the end of this video. There will be a part 2 that I'll be posting later about everything you should or should not do while eating in Japan. So you might want to check that out to make sure that you don't embarrass yourself while enjoying the wonderful cuisine there. And also, if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If there's anything I missed or anything you have questions on, tell me in the comments below. I'll make sure to try and answer all of those if I can. And subscribe so you never miss another video if you want to see all my adventures about everything I'm doing while I learn and prepare for my trip to Japan and other trips to other places in the future. Thank you very much. See you later.